Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to take a look at a content management system that is hosted by Wix.com. I want to talk a little bit about the reasons why we're going to use it and to go ahead and get you started. First and foremost, let's talk about what Wix.com is. It serves a couple of different functions. They are a web hosting company. They allow for you to purchase domains and so on, but also they host sites. And in addition to that, they have a pretty nice templating system and a online web development tools. And what I'd like for you to do is to get used to developing websites for a couple of reasons, but first and foremost, a little earlier on, before we have a chance to do a deep dive into some of the technologies we're going to look at. And so you can sort of think of yourself now as a novice creator here. You basically are using their content management system, their templates, and so on to get your first exposure at building a website. Now, you may have a little bit of experience in the past. Maybe you've helped a friend out. Maybe you've even worked for someone. The idea is that I want you to use this as an opportunity to advertise yourself now. And so what we're going to be utilizing Wix for is a couple of things. Is number one, a little bit of practice with web development. But number two is I want you to get used to the idea of creating a portfolio and building then an online presence that you can then use for employers in the future. Third reason that we're going to use Wix.com is that I'm going to be asking you some questions over the course of this series. And I'm going to ask that you put the responses on your Wix.com website. So the idea is that you're going to be creating somewhat of a blog, meaning that you are going to give back to the world at large. And what I mean by that, the idea is that many times you've probably looked for answers on the internet, and you probably stumbled upon a blog post by another developer. You may have used their suggestions or their guidance or their instructions to do something on your own. Well, it's your time now to give back. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a combination of things. You're going to use this as an opportunity to build your portfolio, your exposure as a professional on the internet. And the first step to that is to answer some questions as we go along about the course, and give you an opportunity to not only create the content, but do so in a professional setting as well. So the first thing I want you to do is to go ahead and create an account on Wix.com. I'm going to go ahead and sign in because I've already created my account. And so it's going to be the same account that I use for the YouTube channel. So the gmyers.uab@gmail.com. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to email me. I'm going to go ahead and log in now. And you'll be taken to this dashboard once you've successfully logged in. Now, before we go any further, I want to emphasize you should not have to pay for this. Wix does a pretty good job of giving you some basic features for free. There's a limit to the number of sites and the amount of traffic you can have, but this will all fall well under the guise of development, so you shouldn't have a problem here. First thing I want you to do then is I want you to go ahead and create a new website. And the idea is the first one that you create, don't get too attached to. We're going to be creating and destroying them as we go along. You want to get some practice with this. So if anything, just have some fun, play around, look at the different templates that they provide, whether it's a portfolio or a blog. For this video, I'm just going to choose a blog. I'm just going to create a traditional, I guess you could say, blog. I want you to emphasize a little bit of creativity here, have some fun with it, basically. And you can see here that they have all sorts of little wizards and suggestions and so on. Once again, for the purposes of keeping this video pretty short, I'm just going to go ahead and skip all this. I'm going to let them build using one of their templates, a website. And once again, I encourage you to look around. I want you to find one that sort of balances the ability to create a blog and your personal interests. And don't just use one of their templates and all of their pictures. I want you to customize it for your own use. For this purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and select first one here, their train of thought. I'll also be evolving this as we go along this semester. And so the idea here is that I'm going to give you the URL to this one so you can sort of see how I will evolve it, have some fun with it. I personally will also enjoy doing this. And so the idea here is you can look around. There's some basic posts already here. This is just a template. I'll change this as well. And you'll see that down at the bottom, for instance, there's a way to contact you. And also too, they've provided some default links for social media. I want you to have certain key features, and we'll talk about those later, but at the very least, I want you to have a home and about, and then a blog, and however you choose to go about doing that is fine. We'll talk a little bit about some of the advantages and disadvantages, but once you have something that you're happy with, you can go ahead and save it. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to call this site EE447. You'll notice that it's prepended with the free Wix.com domain. I'll go ahead and hit save. This will take just a second. And then you'll notice here then that that is the URL to your landing page. And so I'm going to go ahead and publish this one. And what that means now is that you, myself, or anyone who stumbles on this video now knows how to get to my website. And so the idea is that once you're comfortable with what you have, go ahead and publish it. Before you publish it, let's talk a little bit about what I want to see on this site. Obviously, we have to be careful about privacy on the internet. So I want you to decide what level of privacy you're comfortable with. I don't want to push you beyond those levels. Think of this as what you would like, for instance, a future employer to know about you. And so all of the questions I'll be asking will be related to a course or to one of your other courses. And so think of this as an opportunity to advertise yourself to future employers, colleagues, possibly other faculty. But most importantly, I don't want you to expose anything more than you are comfortable exposing. And so if, for instance, we're going to link to a social media account, if you need to create another social media account just so that you can link to it just for the purposes of this course. For example, I'm going to be linking our YouTube channel to my Wix site. If you've got any questions or concerns about what I want you to post, simply just email me. I'll be happy to clarify. You'll still want to go through the process, and you'll have to go through the process rather. But for instance, I will help you curate what you should feel comfortable then having on your website. But once again, play around with this, have some fun with it, change the background colors, just spend some time on this. This is your opportunity to dig into web development, sort of from a novice creation standpoint. In other words, it's not expected to have a high level of understanding of web development to use these tools. So hopefully you found this video useful. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And thank you for watching.